This week's episode of The Wise Guys is dedicated to the loving memory of Jeremy Bedeau, who passed away on April 15th as a result of the COVID-19 virus. Jeremy, we love you, we adore you, we appreciate you, my brother, and you will be in our hearts now and forever. Rest in peace. This week on The Wise Guys.
There's men that have a whole family of women, grandmothers, aunties, such as myself. I've had that. I've had a privilege to get the game from my mother and aunties and something like that. But there was a time where I wasn't trying to hear none of that. I didn't care. So I was one of those guys out here. Oh, you be this or whatever. Cause I was in school until somebody ran up on me and said, "Why are you talking to this woman like this? Do you know who she is? She's your earth." Like, that's not my earth. That's not my mom. Yes, she is. She's a woman.
That's deep. That's deep. That's deep, bro.
Preach. Yeah. You know what I mean? Regardless if that woman is your mother or not, she's still a woman and she needs to be respected like a woman.
Because she's a future cultivator of the next generation.
Straight up, man.
She gives birth through, you know what I'm saying?
We're men, yeah. We're the dominant, blah, blah, all that stuff. But like when you really buckle down and think about.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Kevin Anglade, and you are now tuning in to the Wise Guys podcast, brought to you by Flowered Concrete. Check it out.
Yo, what's going on? This is your boy, Kevin Anglade, and we are back for another week of the Wise Guys podcast. Unfortunately, ladies and gents, Mark is not here once again today. He's currently out and about doing his business, running in the city. But that's okay, because we have two really great guests coming onto the show today, all right? So you know what? I don't even want to waste any time out there, Wise Community. Let's get right into it. Today's episode 16, is called Lost and Found. I'll say it one more time. Today's episode 16 of the Wise Guys podcast is called Lost and Found, all right? Man. So as you all know out there, I recently said on my, on the previous, podcast, few episodes back, I want to say episode 9 it was with Mark, that I recently started a new position at a nonprofit, as a rehabilitation therapist working with at-risk boys. So, Wise Community, sometimes what happens is you end up in a position where God puts you somewhere where it was fate, where it was meant to be. And I say that because, for the longest, my girlfriend has been saying, "You need friends." And I'm like, "No, I don't. All my friends are back in New York." Cause as you all know, I live in Hartford, Connecticut now. And I was like, "No, I don't need friends." I don't know if I'm at the point where I'm friends with the people I'm about to bring on the podcast, but I'll be damn sure about one thing. If I'm not friends with them now, if you're not friends with them now, Wise Community, you sure will be acquainted with them and be friends very, very soon. All right. I met these two brothers, at the nonprofit that I work at, and just great ideas, great vibes. And I think you all can relate to, all my young men out there can really relate to, wanting and yearning to find people that are of the same ilk and cut from the same cloth as them, whether you have the same experiences or not. You know what I'm saying? But that's enough of my rambling. I kind of want to get straight to it and bring on these, talented and special brothers on today's podcast. So without any further ado, I'm going to bring on the next guest of the Wise Guys podcast. Okay. So we'd like to welcome into the show today, Vatelli Chapman and Carl Desir. How you doing, fellas?
How you doing? What's going on?
So fellas, first and foremost, thank you. I know we had a long day at work. Thank you for taking the time out to be on the podcast today. So I'm going to start with you first, Vatelli, and then Carl, you can finish after. All right. Could you please, give the Wise Community a 30-second elevated pitch synopsis about who you are and what you do and all that jazz?
Great. So once again, my name is Vatelli Chapman. I'm currently the head chef for the nonprofit that I work for, but outside of being a chef, I've been a chef for 17 years. This has been my go-to. But outside of that, I'm a youth mentor, youth counselor. I try to be really involved in the community as far as teenagers, as far as juveniles, boys and girls, because they need insight to the world, because at this age, at this young, tender age, from 13 maybe to 17, they need guidance, especially if their household is in a little bit of chaos and they're trying to figure out things for themselves. So I feel like I would be the perfect, not necessarily the perfect, but just the right advocate just to talk to this youth out here and let them know that they can get whatever they want.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Carl.
Like my man, what's going on, everybody? I'm Carl Desir. Like my man Vatelli said earlier, just out here trying to make a difference, you know. Just I work for a nonprofit as well. I'm gonna be a senior mentor. I believe that, you feel me, these youths, they need somebody positive in their life that could help them, guide them. And when I was growing up, I didn't have that. So it's important. I think it's important to have somebody you could look up to, or somebody that could like tell you right from wrong and stuff like that. So I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Again, fellas, I know it was a long work day. Thank you both for coming on. And I usually don't do this. I usually wait to the end. But, you know, I consider ourselves to be a family now because we're going to be working long hours together, whatnot. Shout out to our boys. All right. Shout out to our boys, Curtis and Sear and Kelly. All right. Kelly Mills. Yo, our two fellas. We're missing them right now, but they were supposed to be part of the Wise Guys podcast today. Yeah. I think what happened.
Shout out to Kelly and Curtis, man.
For sure. The GPS sent them to Weathersfield.
Yeah.
Sent Kelly to Weathersfield.
It's a mix-up. It'll happen.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Sure.
It'll happen again.
For sure. Also, fellas, the mic is pretty good with picking up audio, so you don't need to really speak directly into it. We good talking like this, as long as you keep an elevated voice, all right? Okay. So first and foremost, fellas, again, happy to have you on. I kind of want to get right into it, or as Vatelli likes to say, get right into the shenanigans.
Let's do it.
Ready for it?
Let's get it. Let's do it.
Okay, so gentlemen, this first question, Carl, I actually have you answer first, and then Vatelli, you can start gathering your thoughts and answer second. The question is, what causes black boys to get off track before or by the time they reach adolescence?
That's a great question, my brother. To me, I think it's their environment, you know? Because as young black boys, sometimes we grow up without a dad, you feel me?
Right.
We grow up in environments where there's drugs, you know?
Yeah.
And we don't really have guidance. We don't really have somebody to teach us how to be men, you know? So I think that's one of the things that keeps keeping us off track and keeping us from reaching our goals and being successful and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that we need to stay together. Like we need to, when we get a girl and stuff like that, we need to make sure we keep the relationship going and not break like, feel me, get the girl pregnant and then go off and do your own thing and stuff like that. We need to stay in the relationship.
Right.
And that way we will help the kids grow up and be successful. That's what I think. Well,
if you don't mind me asking you, before I move on to Vatelli, you want to talk a little bit about your experience as a black boy growing up a little bit?
Perfect. So I grew up without dad. And I grew up, it was only my mom.
Have you met him before?
My dad? Yeah, I met my dad.
Okay.
We've interacted, but like, it's never like father and son, because I don't really know him like that. You feel me? It's a difference. Like, yeah, you my dad, but you not like, I don't know you. You don't know me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And when I was growing up, it was my mom and my grandma.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Wow.
And she was my mom and my dad.
Right.
So she had to provide. She had to guide me. She had to feel me. Sometimes when I get in trouble, she would go home. Hey, don't do that. You feel me? And she's a strong person. And like, when she walks in the room, you'll feel her presence for sure. Yeah. So I was fortunate to have her in my life. I feel like without her, I don't know where I would be right now.
Absolutely. And for all my Haitians out there who's been tuning into the Wise Guys podcast, my boy Carl out here, you know, he half Haitian, so ça passe ou get up on it. Lila, nous la na boule.
Ça passe.
So, Vatelli, same question.
Yes.
What causes black boys to get off track before or by the time they reach adolescence? And you can go a little bit into your story if you'd like to.
Yeah, of course. First of all, I always believe that with young black boys, like you're saying, young black boys, it's sad. So the way I break it down, you know, some black boys are fortunate to come from a good upbringing. both parents in the house.
Right.
A structure that's behind them. Dad's working, mom's working, chores are instilled in the house, and that teaches the kid good values as far as good work ethic starting early. Now let's get realistic. Let's go, a little bit more in depth. Currently today, the statistics show that there's 1 in 4 black young boys without a father in the house.
Wow.
Okay, that's today's statistics.
Talk to him.
And I say that to say this, and I'm speaking for myself. I'm from North Philadelphia. I live in Hartford now. By the grace of some good people behind me, I was able to reach a certain level of professionalism and manhood. But before all that, my life was chaos. Going that, more, my parents split up when I was 4 or 5 years old. And that sent me into a whole thing of going back and forth. What I mean by that is my dad lived here in Connecticut. He was already here. I was still living with my mother. When my mother didn't feel like dealing with me, she'll send me to my dad's house for a summer. I go back. So I'm not really learning anything. I'm getting in the loop and I'm not being set up with the proper tools, and I'm not going to keep relating everything to myself. Let's talk about these young boys that's out here right now that are going to juvenile detention, that are catching cases, that are catching big cases. What I mean by big cases, big charges that adults would catch.
Right.
With the problem with that is there's not enough men in the household to teach these young minority brothers. And I can say, because I am black, I can say, that's the topic, but there's not enough structure, in the house for that. A man plays a huge role. Shouts to all the moms that are doing it, single mothers, getting your kids to school, trying to get their best, get their children the best education.
Shout out moms for sure.
But, y'all can't do it all. And, unfortunately, up to the time that I was about 14, 15 years old, I lost a lot of that guidance from my father, because at that time, parents get into squabbles, disagreements, and, that trickles down to the kids. And, you know how that goes. You can't see your child, this and that. When I was 14, I was getting in so much trouble that I had to get sent to my father. That was the last resort from my mother to get a hold on me. And
you were living in Philly at the time, right?
Yes, I was. I was living in Philly. Born and raised. I wouldn't even say. I would say I'm more of a split. I spent a lot of time in Philly. I spent a lot of time in Hartford. My motto is 215 is my soul, 860 is my heart.
I love it.
That's the motto that I live by. And what I say is that when there is no structure in the household and you let that young man's brain roam, some kids get it, some kids don't. But I'll tell you this, from what I've seen, if you're in the city, these kids, these young brothers, these young sisters as well, but we talking about the brothers, they're not going to get it, and they're already set up for destruction before they hit 16.
Wow. Sorry about that, Wise community. Man, we're off to a nice hot start. But the first segment of today's episode is called The Lost Boys, all right? The first segment of today's episode is called The Lost Boys. I find that really, really interesting. And it's interesting, too, to the wise guys and the wise gals out there, because we were having a conversation off air, and then, me and you started, and then when Carl got here, you two started having a conversation off air, prior to us recording the podcast, and I heard you guys dropping a lot of gems in terms of just like sharing your youthful experiences and what you guys went through growing up. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it kind of made me feel, I'll be honest with you, I know this is gonna sound kind of crazy, and I can't wait to get y'all perspective on it, and so whoever would like to speak can speak on it. It kind of made me feel like that teenager who was trying to, be a part of the crowd or find self-acceptance. Cause I was like, man, I ain't never did this. I ain't never did that in regards to what you guys were speaking, and I'm not going to get into it, whatnot. But I'm like, I was like, yo, I was fortunate, man. I grew up in a Haitian household with both parents, my mother and my father. Like my father, excuse my language, my father was on my ass. Like, my dad made sure my homework was done. If my homework wasn't done, he'd pop me. If I got a math problem wrong, he'd pop me. You know what I'm saying? Like my dad was always on me. Like I mean, there were times, like where I had great moments with him, but like I feared my dad. To me, he was more so of an enforcer than an actual buddy, or I saw someone as somebody that I looked up to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I tell you guys what though. I was privileged. And you know how we usually say white privilege, whatever. I had to recognize my own privileges just by listening to your conversations and just by listening to everything that you, Vatelli, Kelly, and Curtis have been talking about. You know what I'm saying? Just in general. You know what and that's why I wanted you guys to come on this podcast, because I was fortunate enough and privileged to grow up with both parents in the household. And because of that reason, I see what I've become now. You know what I'm saying? And my dad passed when I was 19. He was a substance abuser. He got, addicted to alcohol, and so he died of cirrhosis of the liver. And I think when I was 19, I was actually saying this to Kelly earlier. Shout out to Kelly once again. We gotta get you on here soon, boy. I was telling Kelly earlier that, a lot of people, I remember my dad's funeral vividly. A lot of people in my family, my own family, my first line of defense, like relatives, aunties, uncles, even though they didn't say it, I realize now that they didn't think that I would become who I am today, because I was 19 when I lost my dad. And me and Kelly, we spoke about this. We know people who were 17, 18, 19, lost their fathers and went off the deep end. But for some reason, my dad passing away at 19, I was already in my freshman year of college. That put the battery in my back, man. I was like, nah, bro. I was like, you the man of the house now. You gotta hustle. You gotta finish college. You gotta go get your master's. Do whatever you gotta do. You gotta make a difference, because now you got your younger sister. She's 2 years younger than you. She's gonna be looking up to you. So I took that initiative upon myself. But what's so crazy is, and I'm not going to get into any names on this podcast. Now, when I have conversations with my mom, I pick up the phone, I call her. She's like, oh, so-and-so is griping about this, like her sisters, whatever, whatnot. They're saying, you got a car, your sister got a car, blah, blah, blah. And some of my cousins are saying, oh, you think you're smarter than us and blah, 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 whatever, whatnot. It's like, what did I do wrong? All I did was went to school, did what I have to do, and when I see my fam, bro, it's all love. It's like, it's all love. So I kind of find it crazy, because now it makes me think, whether it's my auntie, uncle, cousins, or whoever, I thought I was going to fail. Yeah, I thought since my dad wasn't here, I was going to fall off track. That's not everyone's story. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But for some reason though, bro, when I heard you and Vatelli talking in the kitchen, I felt like that 15, 16-year-old kid in the locker room, like, who didn't get a chance to smash a girl. I was like, man, I ain't got no stories like that, man. I can't even get with it, though. Tell me your thoughts.
So,
am I wrong for thinking that way?
Definitely not wrong. I mean, growing up, I kind of felt the same way, too. I mean, some people in my family thought I was going to fail. I was going to go to college, My cousin, she thought I was going to be out here selling drugs and stuff. So I had it rough when I was growing up. So when I was around 14, 15, I remember I started selling drugs in high school, because it was just my mom. I just didn't want to ask her for money and stuff like that. And I didn't like when she asked my dad for money for me, because I hated it. I hated when she asked my dad, I need some money to, I'm trying to buy your son some sneakers. I hated that. So, I was like, man, I'm gonna just start selling.
Wow. So
I started selling weed in high school and stuff like that to get shoes and clothes and stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
But fortunately, I was able to figure things out, and then I went to school, I went to college, I went to Central.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, you picked it up.
I picked it up.
Yeah,
I picked it up, and then look where I'm at right now.
That's great. That's great, and I feel as if and this is a great reason as to why we're working at this nonprofit, because a lot of boys need to know that they can have my story or your story and come back from it, if that's the case. Because even though I didn't go through the hardships you all face, because, I was pretty much privileged to have both parents, throughout the majority of my life. Now that I think about it, I still went through some shit too, bruh. Like, I still went through some shit, losing my dad. My older sister actually passed away 2 years before my dad when I was 16. So it was actually three of us. It was me, my little sister Samantha, and my older sister Alexandra. And she passed away when I was 16. She had, I forget, meningitis. So she passed away from meningitis. So losing her at 16 was like a wake up call for me. Like, damn. I remember I was at her gravesite and I was like, Alex, I love you and I miss you, but I promise, I'm going to do something.
Sometimes, not to interrupt you, but sometimes that's all it takes. You feel me?
That's true.
That's all it takes.
That opened my eyes. Before, life was all fun and games, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, whatever, whatnot. The moment I lost my sister, it's like I became a beast. I was like, I'm out here trying to win, I gotta make mom proud, dad proud, whatever, whatnot. Then when I lost my dad, I said, it's a wrap. I'm killing the game. I'm coming like LeBron James and I'm showing everybody wrong that I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna do my thing. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of find it crazy that when y'all were in the kitchen, and Vatelli, maybe you could talk about this, I was like, man, I ain't have their story. Maybe I'm not cool enough to have this conversation with them today. Vatelli, is it, any wrong for me being a square or being how I grew up?
No, it's not.
Having a dad in the household?
Because I'm going to tell you something honest. So when I was coming up, let's go back to, let's talk about 5 years old, 5 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
And correct me if I'm wrong. And this is not the terminology.
This
is not the terminology I want to use.
What do you think?
But I was a nerd.
Yeah.
I wanted to raise my hand all the time and answer questions and read books and obtain knowledge. But because of my environment and where I was, and nobody was telling me it's okay to be smart, I thought that I'm doing something wrong being smart. So I wanted to be on the other end of what you're saying. You say you wanted to be and fit in. Oh, I didn't have this story, that car. I didn't got this story. God bless you don't have those stories. Because that lets you know that your parents did something right. Not necessarily our parents. Look, parents are parents. They're not perfect. But, that's a privilege and that's an honor to be the way you at now. And it's inspiring and it's motivating. I just had to shout you out on that.
Right. No,
but, going on that, I always wanted to be educated. I always wanted to be smart. I always wanted to be professional. I always wanted to not be in the grit of the grud of the streets where, young black brothers is getting taken out left and right every day. We're dying every day. We're decreasing every day. The fathers in the household is decreasing every day. So, what you're saying, you shouldn't have any hard feelings just because you didn't go through what your peers went through on our side. Right. What you went through was something great because a lot of us haven't had that and we had to find it out on our own and get the niche as far as somebody telling us go to school, get an education. I didn't have nobody tell me to go to school and get an education.
Does that make young boys, like soon to be me's, right?
Yep.
Or soon to be used? Does that make them more square and less tougher because they didn't come from your backgrounds?
No.
And the reason why I say that,
no,
if you don't mind, I'm going to share this story in the podcast.
Yep.
Last Friday, driving V home, whatnot, because he lives like 6 minutes away. You know what I'm saying? So on the way home, I think either his son called him or you called your son. Maybe you could.
Yeah, I called him all the time.
Yo, that was one of the real first times in my life that I realized that prejudice and bias is real. And I'm going to tell you why. The first day I saw him, I was like, yo, this a hood nigga. I'm like, yo, where's this hood nigga? I said, yo, I need to find out where this dude from. I was like, yo, but then
it was true, though. It was so true. You knew what you were saying.
But still, though, that's wrong. Because, remember the trainings we were doing at the library?
Yep.
When I was reading the manual, it said, have you ever had a biases or, a preconceived notion about someone who you saw? And I was judging my boy.
We all do that.
It's true. We all do it.
But what's so crazy? And then you remember the day after second day orientation. Yep. I was like, yo, where you from? And then he was like, yo, North Philly. I was like, but he didn't know. But I was like, oh, okay. But in my head, I was like, yeah, he. I was like, I know it's right here. But what was so crazy is that when he called his son. And his son responded. He was like, hey, Dad, blah, blah, blah. His son reminded me of myself. Great diction, great articulation in how he's speaking. And I have my own biases, man. Let me tell you why. Because I had a different imagination of who I thought his son would be because he said his son is a ball player. His son plays basketball and he's really heavily involved in his son's life, his games, whatever, whatnot. So me being a former head coach of a middle school basketball team, you already have biases. Like, oh, his son is a jock. He probably just barely making grades, C, D, B, whatever. I'm just telling you the truth, brother. I'm not trying to be disrespectful.
No, not at all.
And also with the background that I have coming as a teacher, you can kind of get sucked into that sometimes. Mm-hmm. White teachers do it, and then us as black teachers, we shun them for that. But my experiences meeting this guy and then hearing him talk to his son, I realized, oh shoot, black men and black teachers do it too. Look, you prejudging him without even knowing the brother. But when I heard his son, I said, yo, he raised his son right. Hearing how I heard his son speak, and remember, I told you this. I was like, Vatelli, I know your son did not have the same struggle you had. And he said, hell no. He said, I don't want him to. He said, that's not cool. If you could talk about that a little bit.
Never that. And I'll backtrack it a little bit too. So it wasn't always peachy between me and my oldest son. Me peachy between me and my oldest son's mother. There was a lot of things that I had to get back on track. There was a lot of things that I had to get back on track for myself. There was things I had to figure out for myself. Even being a grown adult at 33 years old, I had to figure out how I could be the best father that I could be while I'm living to my oldest son. Because there was a few years where I wasn't there. There was a few years where I didn't know left from right, up and down, because I was going through my own problems. And I could say that's not an excuse. That's not an excuse to be a father. To, you gotta be a parent regardless of that. But you know what? Life throws you curveballs, and sometimes your mental might not even be able to take care of yourself. So how you gonna take care of your kid, right?
Facts.
How you gonna take care of your children if your mental up here is not right? So I had to get that right, and now I can coach my son, my oldest son. He's 16. He'll be 17 in July. I can coach him through life. I can coach him because he goes to high school. The knuckleheads are there. The drugs are there. The girls are there. And I just tell him, I'm your best guy to tell you that it's okay to be smart. It's okay to play ball and be smart and go do this and go do that. And then, my son, he works in he wants to do IT. He wants to build a new internet. He wants to be smart. And I said, that's where you're gonna be. You wanna know why? Because you have a mother. Not only does he have a mother in me, he also has a stepfather. Shouts to his stepfather, Mac, I'll put your name out there, but you're a good dude. Shout you out. You take care of my son. You make sure that he's good. It's a good community. It's a good structure that we got around him. And it took me a minute to get to that because my foundation was broken since the day I was born. And that's just the truth. My family, and I'm not saying all of my family, because I do have good ones in my family, but the side that I gravitated towards was straight street. I started selling drugs. I started doing things I shouldn't have been doing, stealing. I started catching cases at 14, 13. I'm already in a juvenile. Like, I was on my way. And if it wasn't for my father, and I know that's another topic, but my father, when I got sent to my father, that changed my whole life. That changed my whole perspective as far as manhood and how to be a father. And I'm blessed. Rest in peace, my father, Mitchell Chapman. There needs to be more black men out here. I'm not saying black men or Puerto Rican men or, I don't mean to use that term as far as race, but it just needs to be more men out here take care of these kids. And that's not necessarily these girls, because girls are here, and I'm not contrasting that this is a boy girl thing or not. That we're talking about these young men, because at the end of the day, they're future fathers, they're future leaders, and if they're set up right, if any child is set up right, they're going to grow and they're going to prosper and they're going to flourish into something that they never thought that they could be. So at 33 years old, I'm growing into a man that I never ever thought that I could be.
Excellent. Before we move on to the next segment or question, I'm gonna tell you right now. Question. Yeah, man. But we good. Before we move on to the next question, Carl, is there any last thing you want to add before I move on to the next question?
I have a question for Carl. That's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, that's cool.
Carl, I want to know what, and I'm talking, what was your snap moment in your head where you was just like, I'm done with this. Like, forget what's going on out here. I'm about to do that. What was your turning point, brother?
To me, my snap moment was, I think when I was 16, and then I had like weed in my room and stuff. I thought I had that shit hidden, you feel me? But that wasn't the case. My mom, she walked in my room, she found weed in it, and then she started crying.
Yeah.
And then she was telling me, like, after all the things we've been through, all the things I've done for you, and then now this a road you want to go down, like this a road you want to take, and that kind of like I felt it, you feel me? Because it was only me and her. It was only me and her, nobody else. We've been through a lot.
Yeah.
So to me, that was a snap moment. I had to wake up after that. I was like, man, I'm gonna make sure I finish school. I'm gonna make sure I go to college. I'm gonna make sure I get a good job so I could like make her proud, and you feel me?
She's proud, bro. You're awake. You're awake. You're definitely awake.
And show her that, man, I'm here. I did it.
It's interesting you say that, because it just goes to show that even guys such as myself who grew up privileged can have I think this is for black men, young black men. It shows that even guys such as myself who grew up privileged can have those type of moments too. Because my sister passing away when I was 16 was a snap moment for me. Like, yo, wake up. It's time to do what you got to do. And then my dad passing away, man, that just pretty much cemented it. It was like, aha. Because prior to that, my dad was pretty much guiding me and, just molding me to be whatever he wanted me to be. Now, I don't think, I don't necessarily agree with that, but my father, he comes from a third world country such as Haiti, man, where they didn't have much. So honestly, his old traditional values and self-beliefs, he just wanted what was best for me. You know what I'm saying? So I can totally respect him and appreciate him for that. But he wanted me to be a computer engineer. I never wanted to do computer engineering. But then once my dad was gone, I was like, yo, I really don't want to do this. So I said, you know what? I love reading. I love English. Let me do English literature and see what I'm going to do with it, So that pretty much got me where I am right now. So I think it's kind of interesting that you mentioned that snap moment, because I think a lot of brothers have that. And we don't not often talk about that. So I thought you struck upon something real, real interesting. Excellent. I want to move on to the second question of this first segment before we move on to the second segment. And Vatelli, I'm actually going to start off with you.
Great.
You mentioned something that was very, very profound, right? Before you talked about, your son's stepdad, and you shouted him out.
Yes.
That's something we do not often see in the black community.
We don't
often see that. We don't see another man praising someone else for raising his son while he's not with that woman. And I think that's very profound. And can I shake your hand real quick, man? Because I respect you. Seriously, I have so much respect and admiration for you doing that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to start off with you, but I think we get caught up, right, in these generational curses. And a lot of these generational curses comes from systemic oppression, dating all the way back to slavery when they brought us up on that boats. You know what I'm saying? Real. But that's another podcast, so we're not going to get into that today, wise community. We're definitely not. But I bring that up to you, Vatelli, because I wanted to ask this question. You're going to answer first, and Carl, you answer afterwards. So you bringing up your son's stepdad and you shouting him out, putting his name out there. Hopefully he's cool with that. Shout out to you, man. I wanted to ask, how important is it for black boys and girls? And then we can say, I don't want to just limit it and exclude it to black boys and girls, because I think I would be doing a disservice to all other minorities. Okay. But how important is it for minority boys and girls to have fathers in the household, man?
First of all, we're the disciplinary. Now, as you know, in a minority household, it's usually the mother or the grandmother that if the father ain't there, that's the disciplinary. Mm-hmm. But it counts so much for a father, for a man to be in the house with his kids, because, that's where we learn stuff. That's where, at the end of the day, our dad is our hero. We want to idolize our father. We want to, we play fight. We rough. That's where we're getting our first engagement of just play fighting and being rough and being a man. Yeah. It's very important. It's very, 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 very important. It's extremely important. And I don't want to emphasize on it so much, because I feel like I am privileged. I was able to have my father in my life until I was 18. And when he left, that played a big role on me. But before he left, he told me, make sure you wash your face every morning. Make sure you iron your clothes. You never know who you're going to meet. So always make sure you're looking clean. Make sure your clothes is clean. Make sure you're not looking like, my dad would say, looking like a bum. I don't want to use that because, people are less fortunate out here. I don't like using that term. Nobody is a bum. I say the less fortunate. It played in fathers, showing, and this goes to the young boys and the young girls. And we're not going to put a minority title on this, kids seeing how a father loves their mother, hugging, talking nice, doing that sets the child up, boy or girl, then, okay, I gotta love this girl or I gotta love this man. And, it's sad that what I see nowadays is not happening because the lack of fathers and mothers now, because either they're going in the system, they're letting their kids go to the DCF system and don't want to get them back. Kids are going in the juvenile system, not off of crimes. Now some of these kids do big major crimes that we would never ever think of. But you know what? They're still children. And what made them make these choices? Or I'm going to kill you, or I'm going to do such and such to you, or I'm going to run away from you. I think with these kids nowadays, we lack the love and the understanding to really listen to these children And these parents just let their kids slip away through the thing, just let them slip away when they start acting too wild instead of pulling them back and giving them structure.
Yeah. Wow, man. No, that's deep. That's real deep. And just for those of you listening out there who's picking up game on what Vatelli, myself, and Carl is sharing, DCF is very similar to in New York State, ACS, or any state in this country or overseas that has a Department of Children's or Families or works with children in regards to social workers and domestic household issues and whatnot. All right, just for little note there, to kind of give you guys some info. And yeah, Carl, same question: how important is it for Black boys and girls? And when I say Black boys and girls, I said this to Vatelli already. I don't want to say Black boys and girls. I want to say Hispanics, and I want to say other children of color as well. How important is it for minority Black boys and girls to have fathers in their household?
It's important, man. But before I answer that question, I want to go off on something that he said. He said that kids, they don't see the love between their mother and their father. Mm-hmm. That's important because imagine growing up in a house and you see your dad beating up on your mom or something. You feel me? You see your mom just talking to your dad all types of ways. It messed with your brain.
You internalize it too.
Exactly.
How many men do we know beating up on their women and they said, "Oh, I saw it in my household"?
Exactly. You feel me? So and now you grow up. You feel me? You out here dating and stuff like that, and you don't respect females because you seen it in the household when you was growing up. You don't respect females. You call them all types of names, all types. You feel me?
There we go, Carl.
It's important. I really like that. But yeah, man, I think it's really important to have men in the house growing up because we got to be honest. There's certain conversations we can't have with our mothers. Let's say we like a girl or something. You feel me? And how you say you like 10 years old and you like a girl. You got your first crush. How do you approach a girl? You go to if you feel me. If you got a dad in the house, you go to the dad and be like, "Hey, dad, I like this girl. I'm trying to get with her. How do I do it?" Mm-hmm. That's important.
Yeah, and I think that's a special moment. I don't have children yet, like Vatelli, but I think that's a special moment that God willing, if I have a son, I would relish and cherish that moment.
Exactly.
I never had. It's so crazy. My father was in my life. But by the time I started dating, when I was like 20, 21, I didn't have my father so I can relate that. I didn't have my father to ask him that. So I could have only have imagined what that would have been like. Yo, Dad, I really like this girl. Getting tips. I want to take her out on a date. You know what I'm saying? So that's true, man. That's real rap.
Or even getting bullied in school.
That's true.
Be like, Dad, what do I do? How do I be a man? How do I stand up to the bully? Mm-hmm. And that's important.
And it's so beautiful just thinking about loving a child. I'm sure can expound upon that, and I can't relate yet because I don't have kids, but that must be a beautiful thing, man. Having a son, raising him a daughter, you know what I'm saying? But you were going to say something.
No, what I was going to say was, going off of, seeing, you asking your mom, "Hey mom, I like a girl." She's going to give you a view of how to treat a woman. Mm-hmm. Because that's what a mother's supposed to do.
Right.
When you ask another man that is righteous, that is educated, and that loves, every man is not a monster. I feel like that's the stigma that we get put on with men. Oh, you get in a relationship with a woman, you're a minority. Oh, I'm going to get my ASS beat because that's the stigma of men in a relationship with women beaters. That's not true. That's not true. There's men out here that want to love. There's men that have a whole family of women, grandmothers, aunties, such as myself. I've had that. I've had a privilege to get the game from my mother and aunties and something like that. But there was a time where I wasn't trying to hear none of that. I didn't care. So I was one of those guys out here. Oh, you be this or whatever. Cause I was in school until somebody ran up on me and said, "Why are you talking to this woman like this? Do you know who she is? She's your earth." Like, that's not my earth. That's not my mom. Yes, she is. She's a woman.
That's deep. That's deep. That's deep, bro.
Preach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Regardless if that woman is your mother or not, she's still a woman and she needs to be respected like a woman.
Because she's a future cultivator of the next generation.
Straight up, man.
She gives birth through, you know what I'm saying?
We're men, yeah, we're the dominant, blah, blah, all that stuff. But like when you really buckle down and think about who really hold stuff down, there's another word I want to use, but I'm trying to keep it sensitive on this cast. Shouts to the women that hold it down. You know, give them a little round of applause for the women that hold it down. Because there is women out here that will not let their kids slip into this madness out here.
Right.
And if your kid slips to this madness out here, and you couldn't prevent it, don't be ashamed of yourself, because there is kids that just gravitate towards the streets.
That's true.
And it just happens. It happens. You know, it's kids that come from a mother, father in the household the whole time. And it can still happen to your child, boy or girl. It's just something that they're missing, that they just go to the streets. So don't think that by you giving them love and telling them all this and telling them all these teachings, that they can still not get caught up, because it could still happen to your son. The objective of what I'm talking about right now is that just try to harness that and love your children as much as you can, and really give them the vital information that they need to know going from 14 and up. Because in the law states now that when you turn 16, in the eyes of the law, you're an adult. And I tell my son this all the time, my oldest son. I said, you do something right now, I'm not going to be able to talk to the judge and be like, oh, he didn't know. Judge doesn't care. How old is he? Oh, he's 16. Oh, okay. Oh, you're going to jail. You're going to adult prison at 16. And I don't want to get so passionate, because it's a conversation that it just gets me so emotional about that these judges will still send a child that is mentally undeveloped. Because what we've learned in our training, what we know, that in myself making wrong choices, Carl, you making wrong choices, our brains wasn't developed, man. And we were just reacting off of impulse and what needed to be done. So if these parents take a step back, really find the signs of, is my child in danger or not? And if your child is in danger, you need to get to your child now. Don't wait till the next day. Get to them now. Love them more now. Mm-hmm. Show them better opportunities now. Educate them now. Mm-hmm. Set them up for success now.
Yeah. And wise gals out there, wise gals. I know you're listening to this conversation and be like, oh man, okay, this is great, blah, blah, blah. You know, but we don't want to make sure, you know, we don't want to exclude you, We don't want to exclude you and let you think that we're not thinking about y'all too. So I actually have something interesting to share. And I think I spoke about it to you a little bit. My girlfriend's my world. Shout out to my baby Danielle. I love you. I love you so much. She's excellent. Honestly, she was the right person for me to be in a relationship with after my previous relationship. I'm not going to give her any light on this podcast, but I will definitely on a future episode talk about it for a specific topic. You know what I'm saying? But I want to speak about girls too, man. I think it's really important that girls have their fathers in their lives. Yeah. My ex-girlfriend, my last girlfriend, man, I had my flaws too. I had my issues too. You know what I'm saying? I gave her problems as well. But man, when I say she gave me hell, bruh, guys, she gave me hell. This girl, she had anger issues. She had problems. Her mom, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was bipolar disorder 1. And the way she was acting sometimes, I think I saw flashes of bipolar. But you know what? You know, just for the sake of this podcast, I'm not a mental health counselor, so it would be rude of me to go label what this girl's had. So I'm just letting you know, wise community, that's not what I'm doing. But she had a lot of issues. One minute she was happy with me, the next day she was mad. One minute she was happy with me, the next day she was mad. And I'm here just trying to be a good man, trying to figure out how to make her happy, how to make her good, whatever, whatnot. Yo, when I'm not around, she's blowing my phone up, calling me 20, 30 times. If she's sitting with another girl, I'm just talking, chopping it up. She's going crazy, whatever, whatnot. And then it got to a point, you know, I'm not going to, shed light on it today because I want to save it for a future episode. But there were some really testy moments, you know what I'm saying, that happened between her and I. And it started making me realize, like, is this me? Is this Kev? I didn't grow up like this. I grew up in a stable household with a mother and a father. And I said to myself, oh, okay. And I'm not being disrespectful. I said, this is how it is sometimes. This is how it really be sometimes in the hood. I said, this is how it really be sometimes in the hood. Because she didn't grow up with her dad. She grew up with her stepdad and she wasn't really close to him like that. So the more, I mean, we fought every day, and I had to start thinking to myself, what am I doing wrong? And then she started conditioning me to thinking that I'm the problem, 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 I'm the problem. And then a girl, excuse me, I have so much respect for her. She's not a girl. She's definitely my age. A woman, a fellow woman my age, 6 years ago in 2014. I would shout out her name, but I'm not, she probably wouldn't, and I'm not going to do that, but she called me because she knew both of us personally. And she was like, Kev, what you're going through is abuse. This girl is abusing you. I was like, wait, what? She was like, this girl is abusing you. You should not feel the way you do. Like, what she's doing right now, she's emotionally manipulating you and making you think as if you're a bad guy, making you think that you're the most deplorable scum of the earth. And just talking to her, I was like, wow, I never really thought about it that way. Because I was so caught up in the relationship that I was trying to serve her. But everything I did, man, could never made a difference. I could not please this girl. Could not please this girl. She wouldn't let me hang out with my family. She was jealous of how I was spending time with my sister. Bro, the 3.5, 4 years I spent with her, mind you, I grew up with my little sister Samantha being my best friend. The 3-4 years I spent with this girl, anytime I said I was going to hang out with my sister, she's like, why? Like, she would get so mad. And I'm like, yo, that's my blood. That's me and my sister, we like Marlon and Shawn Wayans, yo. We tight. Like, seriously, like, well, we tight. Like, we finish each other's sentences. We do goofy stuff. Like, yo, that's my sister right there, yo. In the cool digital art graphic design. Like, we tight, man. Like, we like peas in a pod. You know what I'm saying? So, those 2 years, those 3-4 years I was with that girl, my sister didn't even know who I was. I wasn't spending no time with her. I even lied one time to my sister because my girl, or my ex-girl at the time, definitely not my girl now, but she forced me to take her to the movies to go see the Tupac film. My sister, mind you, sent me a link on Instagram with the trailer and wanted to go see it with me. And then, can you believe that after seeing that movie, I went to my sister and I told her, yo, Sam, honestly, the movie's whack, yo. I heard bad reviews. I lied to my sister, man, just because I didn't want to I didn't want to hurt or disrespect my girlfriend at the time, man. But she, no, push it this way. Push the drink this way so it don't fall off. Yeah. But she didn't care. She didn't care if that was my sister, that was my blood. She wanted every single moment spent with her. And if I couldn't, like, go see my family, I had to at least take her. And everywhere I was, she had to be there, bro. Mind you, at the time, and I still am, I was an artist, poet, blah, 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 doing all this stuff. She had to be there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, you're sucking up my life. And then, I know I've been rambling, so I'm going to pretty much close it with this. You know what I realized, gentlemen? I realized I'm brother, I'm uncle, I'm best friend, I'm boyfriend, and I'm dad. I'm playing all these roles, these male roles in her life that I should not have to play, that I'm not equipped to play because someone wasn't there in your life and didn't do his job. And I think while we were dating 3 times, he came to the apartment, saw her and left. So he basically went and left her and basically just went and exited as he pleased. And I'm even though I'm mad about the stuff that she put me through, I'm even more mad at that dude because of that, there's a lot of young girls out here who are basically like my ex-girlfriend and basically trying to find themselves through love, through men because they don't know how to be a woman. And so a father is important for women as well. Very. A father needs to be there for his baby girls. We're talking about boys, but we can't forget the girls too.
Very. That's, that's how women find out how their first relationship is. And I'm not talking like on no like taboo or anything like that. Let's not get that misconstrued. When a baby girl realizes who her dad is, when she comes into that mind state, this is my dad. Like you're on top of the world. There's nothing above you. There's nothing below you.
You think that's why fathers are so overprotective of their daughters?
Very, very. If I had a daughter right now, God didn't want me to have 2 girls, so I got 2 boys. I was blessed with 2 boys. But I feel like if I had a baby girl, my whole outlook on the world, even now, would change so much. But it's changed now because I have baby girl nieces. I have little nieces, and I look at them like they're my daughters, and I'm overprotective of them because I know that their father is not there. They're looking for a father role. They're looking for a male role. And as that girl gets older, if she doesn't find it, stats show, research shows, and it's proven. You can look it up. You know what happens.
Yeah.
My podcast audience. I'll leave that to the imagination. You know what happens to girl. I don't want that to be glorified. Like, oh, every girl that doesn't have a dad in the house, they're going to be like this and be like that. No, that's not what I'm saying. But from my experience and what I've seen out of the inner city and the girls that I grew up on my block with, they went off the deep end further than what I could possibly think of. And research shows that women are more prone to drug addiction than males. Wow. How? And then you think about it, you think about all these women that leave their kids behind drug addiction, crack addiction, cocaine, heroin, methamphetamines, opiates. It doesn't matter. Research shows that women behind trauma or not having a positive male figure in the house, they are more prone to destruction. It's facts. Whew.
Preach, man.
We just learned this, y'all.
Yeah.
We just learned this.
That's very true.
Man, just to piggyback off what you said, a dad, I feel like they teach them how to be confident, teach them how to trust men, teach them how to to what type of men they should look for when they grow up and stuff like that. So when they don't have that, they lost.
Yeah,
they all over the place. They don't know what to do, how to act, and the dad, dad teach them how to be female, how to be a female, how to be strong, how to be comfortable with who you are, and what type of men you should look for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I say that I'm gonna go into I'm going to say this name real quick. I'm not going to say his first name, but I'll say his last name. Shout out to Mr. Santiago. He teaches the fatherhood curriculum in Hartford, Connecticut. I'm not going to say the nonprofit that he works for, but if you know who he is and you know a contact that you can get in contact with him, I would advise it. He teaches the fatherhood curriculum. He teaches another man how to be a father, and not saying, he teaches minorities how to be a father, because we're in the inner city and fathers are not here in the inner city. So, Mr. Santiago, for you teaching me that fatherhood curriculum, and in that curriculum, he gave me so much insight. He said, and I'll never forget it. He said, I got my girl pregnant when she was young, and I married her, and I've been with her for 28, 29 years. We've had kids. It was inspiring. I'm looking at another man telling me how to be a man, and I'm a man already. Do you know how touchy that topic is right there? Oh, what you trying to say? I'm not taking care of my kids? No. But your approach to some things might not be right. And if your approach is right, let me tell you some things. So I was enlightened on fatherhood behind this curriculum. And one of the main things that it was specified in this curriculum, because it was out of a book. Y'all know what curriculum means. Mm-hmm. It was out of a book. How heavy the impact of a male, of a father being in the household. I didn't understand it. Mm-hmm. And going that through me and some of my friends that I've saw. I got friends that ain't never have a father or a mother in the house. Mm-hmm. And this curriculum just it guided me back to as far as where our responsibility lies as men. Mm-hmm. We gotta be men now. Forget if you got kids. Forget be. I'm gonna share this real quick, and I don't mean to say I'm just getting a little off topic a little bit, but I was on a bus the other day. I'm a city kid, y'all. I'm a city kid. I catch the trains, the trolleys, the cabs. I do it all. I'm a city kid, and I got on the bus, and this man was drunk. He was intoxicated. And, excuse my language, y'all, but I want y'all to feel what I'm saying. He's like, oh, my nigga, my nigga. He must have said that word 10 times within 2 seconds. And I said, you don't even know me, but you're addressing me as your nigga. I said, that's the way you address me. How about you say my brother, my brother, my brother? How about you get that terminology out of your head? Now, we all struggle with that word. We all do, because in society it's socially accepted. But when I don't know you, and you're saying something like that, I feel like it was my time to educate him on that, and then he spilled into something that I just knew I was in the right place. I'm trying to get back in my kid's life.
Right.
I'm just coming out of jail.
Yeah.
don't got nowhere to go. Yeah. I told him, I said, that bottle ain't going to help you.
Yeah.
You're just drowning sorrows right now.
Right.
So take those sorrows and put it to action. Mm-hmm. The conclusion of what I'm saying is right now, and I hope everybody's listening. Mm-hmm. I got my man Kev here, got my man Carl here. Mm-hmm. And what the relevance of what me and Carl was talking about is that if a man was in the house and we seen love and we seen progression, we seen motivation, I promise you, I would have never been in the streets, and my boy Carl would never been in the streets.
I love it, man. I love it. Man, that was the first segment right there, man. That was the first half of the show. How y'all feeling? Y'all feeling good?
Feeling good.
Excellent. For sure. So I got 2 more questions for you all, and I want to be very respectful of your time. So before I get into this question, who went last? Who started off first? Was it Carl?
Yeah, no, I started.
Okay, cool. Excellent. So, wise community out there, we're moving on to the second segment of today's show, okay? So the first one was The Lost Boys, and our second segment of today's Wise Guys episode is Now I'm Found, all right? All right, Now I'm Found. So I wanted to throw some info out here to you guys, right? So through my research, I realized, according to Christian Edward Gale's 2007 theoretical study, quote, right, I quote, by providing African-American male adolescents with role models, we could say girls too, with role models who are successful members of their own black community and who have experienced many of the same difficulties that the adolescents are presently faced with, there is a far greater chance that the addition and presence of role models in their lives will have positive results. So we're not just talking about fathers here, we're talking about just male presence within the black or the Hispanic and minority communities in general. So the question I posed to you 2 gentlemen, Carl, I'm going to start with you first, and then after that, Vatelli, you can pitch in afterwards. The question is, where are the positive male figures in the black community? Where are they, and how can we find them?
Man. Wow. That, all right, yeah, okay.
That's a good question, bro.
I got some. We'll work on this together, bro.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. If you don't know,
man, you want to go?
Thinking?
Go.
All right. I would say start at your local youth center. Mm-hmm. Start at your church, the church that you go to.
Yeah.
Start at your school.
Yeah.
Depending on how rough and we don't know where these kids come from, but we have 52 states to talk about where these kids come from. Yeah. Some hoods are tougher than other neighborhoods. That's a hood, whatever. There are avenues to search these positive male role models. They are here. The reason why they're not seek to be found is because it's a stigma. If you smart, you not hood. If you're smart, you're not tough. If you're smart, what are you in the hood? You're going to get bullied, and you know what? It happened to me. So I'm talking in my own experience. Let's go back. The Big Brother program that was out here. I remember the Big Brother. Yeah. I've had the Big Brother programs in my life, and they're here. They're here, ladies and gentlemen. They are here. It's up to us to seek these positive role models out because they are here. You want to know how I know that they're here? Because I work with them. So the person that my boss, not gonna say any names, for our profit, she seeked, and this is she. I can disclose that.
Even though we're not saying her name, shout out to her.
Shout out to her.
She's real. She's real.
It's a disclosed fact to see that we are all positive men. Positive. So there needs to be more adoration. There needs to be more motivation. There needs to be more determination to seek out these positive men that's in this world. Now, we're not taking nothing away from these women. That's a whole nother topic. These women, shouts to my women. Love y'all to death. Love y'all. Y'all probably, but we're talking about the men here right now. These men are here. And sometimes I feel like they catch the end of the string. Feel like they catch the last of the drop of the water. I feel like they catch the last piece of chicken. Haha, just throw a little joke. But you know, there is men out here that want to see the youth just explode with success. And that's where I'm at right now. So these men that's in front of me, these two men that's right here in front of me, including myself, we could be seeked out. We gotta. So the answer your question, since they can't find us, we gotta find them.
I like that.
I want to say something real quick. So so when I was in high school, when I would get in trouble, and there was a security guard, and he would always talk to me and stuff like that, and be like, "Yo, what are you doing, man? Like, why you acting up in school and stuff like that." I went through the same thing you did. You feel me? And look, man, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. Fix go do your homework. Go to class and stop talking in class and stuff like that. Giving the teacher a hard time and stuff. Yeah, to me, that's a role model because you feel me. And he said that he started when he was in high school. He did bad things too. You feel me? He was giving teachers a hard time and all that, but he was able to figure himself out, and now he's passing on that knowledge. You feel me? And telling you that like you don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Do the right thing. You know, like go to class, do your homework, and stuff like that. Absolutely. To me, that's a role model. But I'm saying so. The role models they're in school, man. They're in school, out in the community. Even playing basketball on the court, it might be like an OG just sitting there, just see you about to get in a fight or something. Yeah. Be like, hey man, what are you doing, man? Like, we just here to play basketball. What are you doing? Why are you getting in a fight? This is we just here having fun. Why you always gotta start something?
Hey, young blood.
Yeah. That's to me. That's a role model. That's a mentor, man. That's a role model, and I appreciate people like that because they went through it and they make sure that you don't go through it.
The Uncle Drews.
Yeah, the Uncle Drews. Yeah. So
word.
Yeah. So
it's interesting, man, because I remember when two things real quick before we move on to our final question of the day. I remember when I used to teach in Hartford Public Schools, you know, and I don't work for them no more. I don't work for them anymore. So I could shout out the two schools. And I think I've already shouted them out on this podcast already. Shout out Simpson Waverly Community School. They closed down though on the North End. Shout out to them. I love my North End folks. And shout out to West Middle over there off Asylum and Nile Street. I remember when I was working at Simpson Waverly my first year up in the North End. I remember, some of the, the little runts, they started getting, at first, they pushed back with me a lot. But once, like, what I always do every year, you know what I'm saying? Every year I always do this. Like, I walk into my classroom, I feel the temperature of the room, and I'm like, yo, I'm Mr. Anglade. I'm happy to be here with you all. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be your English language arts teacher this year, and I'm happy to be with you all, so blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay, cool. I was like, yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun this year. I personally love hip hop. You know, I love rap. I'm also a writer and a poet, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, word? I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, so we're going to have a great year. They was like, I'm like, oh, y'all think we're not going to have a great year? I'd be like, always diligent. Pops was militant. Cause an incident. I'm belligerent. Lies, I'm diffident. Though I'm dissident, I am militant. No coincidence. Born within a sense. Living in a sense. Through the dissonance. I'm going to stop right there.
That's all.
Read the book. Read the book. Read the book. I gets down like that.
Okay.
So the more they got a chance to know me, they was like, yo, you real, like you a poet. It was like, you really do hip hop. I'm like, yeah, I'm not a rapper, but I'm a hip hop poet. And so what happened after that is my reputation boosted. But also what would happen is the boys would be like, yo, you gotta meet my brother. I'm like, after school, whatever, so their brothers come pick them up. So you already know what it is. Brothers coming through, man, you know what I'm saying? Pants sagging all the way down. Oh. He's like, yo, what's good, whatever. He's like, yo, this is my teacher, Mr. Anglade, whatever. And like, yeah, all right, man. And they just take him off, walking like that, whatever, whatnot. And I was just in my head, I'm like, yeah, I expected that. I understand because they're looking at me and they're like, he's a square. Yep. You know what I'm saying? He got his suit, his shirt, his tie. shoes, whatever, whatnot, but they don't even know me. They don't even know me.
Can I just interject real
For
quick?
sure, for sure.
I feel like that stigma of the word square and nerd has to be obliterated this year in 2020 and get it back. Because you're a square, so what do you mean you're a square? Like, I used to hear that word so much. You're a nerd, you're a square, you're oing. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but you mentioned this off air though.
It's all fair, it's all part of it.
But you mentioned this off air though. Like, when you go back to Philly, they're looking at you like, yo, you're a nerd now, whatever. Like, honestly, people will look at you all suited and booted up, or like, oh, you my little brother's teacher, whatever. They're like, yo, you're not cut from the same cloth as me. You ain't good. Get out of here.
But we
you know
are.
What I'm saying?
But we are.
But it's like, yo, you judging me. You don't even know me. You don't know my background. Even though I have great diction, I articulate. I'm a well-educated young man. I'm a smart brother. I grew up in Southside Jamaica, Queens, man, where 50 Cent from. So you don't know what I've been through. I went through some of the most, excuse my language, shittiest schools in the New York City public school system. So you don't know what I've been through. I grew up privileged, but my family was still poor. When I say I was privileged because I had two parents in the household. I didn't say I had a lot of money now. I was privileged because of the fact that I had a structure. I had a foundation. My parents didn't know any better. They still sent me to those badass school. I still got my ass beat by those bullies. You know what I'm saying? I saw kids hitting each other. I saw boys peeing in cups and trying to give them to people to sip on or whatever, whatnot. Honestly, me and my sister didn't realize why kids back then, why boys was getting fly, you know what I'm saying? Gucci, naughty, Jordans, whatever, whatnot. But then I didn't even realize that they were living Section 8. I didn't realize what their moms was doing. I didn't realize what, it's crazy.
And I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm done.
What I say is, what I say is that, do y'all know Spotify that everybody is not from the streets? Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that people have never had a fight in their life? Do you know that there's people that never sold drugs or did anything illegal in their life, and that's okay to be like that? Mm-hmm. It is okay. It's such a stigma. Oh, you're not this. You don't know what I've been through because you ain't do this. So what? I didn't sell drugs, but you know what? My grandmother is on a life support machine in the bedroom. I gotta take care of her every single day.
Absolutely.
Or my dad can't walk because he went to the army and he got blown up in an army tank. So now I gotta help. You don't know what anybody's street story can be. So it doesn't necessarily have to be streets. It doesn't necessarily have to be anything related to that. Hardships.
I could be more Fresh Prince and not be Meek Mill.
It doesn't matter.
I'm more Fresh Prince.
And look, I see how they treat my hood. Look, I love Philadelphia with the depth, the everything in my soul. I love Philadelphia because I'm a real advocate for Philly, and I love it. And I've just been privileged enough to been back and forth from Hartford to Philly. And I say it to say this: some neighborhoods, they don't want to see success. They don't want to see excellence. They don't want to see growth. They want to stay right here in the mud. They want to see the murders. They want to see people get killed. They want to see people get hurt. They want to see that. Once you get out of that, I'm sorry, I was about to use some profanity. Once you get out of that mentality, life is so much beautiful, man. So much,
man. They want you to stay there with them.
Yeah. There you go.
They don't want you to succeed. You feel me?
They don't.
Cause was it like that for you growing up?
Yeah, of course. Like some people, they don't want to see you shine, man. Like
I don't get down like that at Stanford. I thought Stanford was pristine.
Man, listen.
Oh, Stanford's crazy.
I thought Stanford was pristine.
So I'm just finding out something. I'm still.
Oh man, listen.
I thought Stanford was pristine.
It's some people that want you to stay there with them.
Because isn't it right by Greenwich? I thought it was pristine.
No.
Man.
My bad. Yeah. My ignorance.
They make up. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but they make up a population of crime down that way. Mm-hmm. Nobody would never think so.
Right. Keep talking.
I said, man, some people don't want to see you. They don't want to see you make it because you making it makes them look bad. You feel me? It points out their flaws and their mistakes and stuff like that. It makes them like feel uncomfortable. Yeah. So they don't want to see that.
Can you say that again, bro?
It makes them look bad. Some people don't want to see you make it because it makes them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
you feel me? It brings out the insecurities and stuff.
Right.
So they don't want to see you shine. They want you to stay the same place you was at before. So
that's why I'm happy I left New York, man.
exactly.
And I don't have to deal with any of those dudes.
There too.
And then, because whenever I go back home in the hood, I pull up, I go see my mom. They're like, yo, you in Connecticut now? It's like, yo, it's boring out there, ain't it? I'm like, nah. It's like, yo, like, what you even doing out there? Like, yo, are you successful? Is things going on? I'm like, yeah, man, I'm teaching, whatever, whatnot. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess you're doing all right because I see you taking trips to Africa now. You teaching over there, whatever, whatnot. But they can't really wrap their head around what I'm like. It's like a foreign language. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, gentlemen, I want to close out with this final question, and then we're going to do our word to the wise. So, between you two decide who's going to speak first or whatever.
Go ahead, Carl. I'll tell you, this is my brother. I like listening to him speak, and I just it's just something like the Spotify. The brothers that's in this room today. Sorry, we're missing 2 other brothers.
Absolutely,
but they're going to be here. I'm getting a lot of motivation from these 2, inspiration from these 2 brothers, and I'm getting to learn my peer. Because you never know what people go through, and I feel like we all share a same common ground to be better. It doesn't matter what you go through, man.
It's
but
true,
Carl, come on in, man.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, y'all. Like, I get passionate.
That's
real, man. That's real.
I get emotional behind this because
this is what we're doing. This is beautiful. This is
you know what I mean. This
beautiful.
is
respect
great.
it. It's real.
But go ahead, Carl. Take the floor, man.
So this is the final question of the day, fellas. And then after this question, we're going to move on to our word to the wise segment. All right.
Yeah.
So the question is, so how do we move forward in cultivating and shaping the mind, spirit, and growth of our boys and girls moving forward, whether it be through education, their own personal interests and hobbies, passions? What are some alternatives for them moving forward, especially in low income, impoverished communities?
To me, it's education, man. Education. They have to go to school, understanding the rights and wrongs. They have to go to school to know the world. You feel me? Like, it's not just your community. There's a world out there that's, you feel me? The world is big, and there's mad countries, and you have to know the world, and you have to study different cultures, understanding the people that you live around. And stuff like you have to respect. School teach you how to respect other people, how to respect cultures, how to be, how to respect time, school teach you a lot, man. Teach you a lot. How to be a man, how to, how to wake up in the morning, go to work, how to have good work ethic. Yeah. School teach you all that, they have to go to school. And I think sports is important as well because sports teach you leadership. They teach you how to work as a team, and sometimes, man, you don't know how to. Sometimes you don't know how to work as a team.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Etiquette too, and sportsmanship.
Exactly.
I lost to a good game, man. See you next time.
How to work hard. How to take a loss. Right. You feel me? Some people we don't. You feel me? We don't take losses like the same way.
Yeah,
and some people take losses like hard, man.
Yeah.
And some people just like, all right, man, I'm gonna just wake up tomorrow and get back at it.
And I'm super competitive. When I get on court, I don't like to lose. Exactly. When I go out there, I'm trying to kill.
It's like that.
we gonna ball. And I know you play ball, so we definitely gonna ball. That's gonna happen soon. But man,
it's great. You know, I feel that. And can you repeat the question one more time?
So how do we move forward in cultivating the mind, spirit, and growth of our boys and girls moving forward, whether it be through education, hobbies, passions, or interests? What are some alternatives for them in the low-income, impoverished communities?
I feel like if you're a father, be available. If you're a mentor, teacher, be available. Be available to let these kids come talk to you and let them disclose some of their concerns and some of their biggest problems. Because I done heard some stories from some of these kids, and you know, I couldn't break down right there, but I done broke down behind closed doors. Like, damn, like, why is this child going through this the way of the world? I say that to say this. We have to be available, and we have to go search for these kids that might be at risk, because they're not going to come to us. They're not going to tell us, hey, I'm getting beat every day. So I'm coming to school and I'm punching on Robert, Elroy, Gina. Whoa, what's going on here? Anger is the first emotion that we learn coming out of the womb. Y'all know that. Research shows it. We learn it. No! Ah!
Especially as babies.
As babies, it's anger first. And if you don't get that anger hardness, it flourishes into something that is not positive. So what I say is say this. All our mentors, our mentorettes, all the women, all the men that is in a position to teach, to lead, to counsel, to mentor, to try to help in the community. Be available and do not make broken promises.
I love it. 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 Excellent. All right, gentlemen. So we're moving on to our third and final segment of the evening. All right, called Word to the Wise. I've already explained it to you both. So between you two, you guys can decide who's going to go last. You know, who's going to have the lucky, fortunate chance of going last. But you guys.
I'll give my man Carl the floor to go. I got my word ready.
That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. So
I'm
actually gonna go first because it's always right that unfortunately, shout out to my boy Mark. Unfortunately, my co-host couldn't be here today. But
shout out Mark. What up, Mark?
Yeah.
Mark, what's up?
Yeah. Hopefully, you guys get to meet him soon.
Shouts out.
For sure. Hopefully, next time he can vibe and chop it up with us along with our other guys. But Mark and I usually go first, and then we usually allow our guests to go last. So I'm actually gonna start off. That's okay. My word to the wise for today's episode is journey. And the reason why I choose the word journey is because I want all the kids to know out there. I want the wise guys, the wise gals, whether you be mothers, fathers, all right, uncles, aunties, whoever, because this is a podcast geared towards millennials. Whoever you are, to the children in your life, please be sure to, as you're helping them and mentoring them and growing and shaping them along the way, please be sure to let them know that life is a journey. Your story is not going to be the same to my story. My story is not going to be the same to Vatelli's story. We all have different stories. And how it kind of went back to what I was saying earlier to you all being in the kitchen, and I kind of felt insecure, I was never a hot boy. I never had a crazy moment because I felt left out. I was like, dang, I ain't got no crazy stories to share. I ain't never, hot wire a car or anything like that, you know what I'm saying? But then I said, Kev, celebrate your story. Celebrate what you went through because it's unique. You know what I'm saying? It's special. You went through it for a reason. God specifically shaped and honed your story to be who you are. You know what I'm saying? Even all of us, no matter what gutters, no matter what hardships we went through, it's because he's shaping you and molding you to be better. You know what I'm saying? So that when you have your kids, you have your grandkids, you can relay your story. Even when you become successful, when you own 5 different chain of restaurants and you that super chef. You know what I'm saying? But I say that because journey, everyone's journey is not going to be the same. Some kids are going to grow up in the Section 8 community when they're walking back and forth to school every day with shootouts happening. Some kids are going to grow up like me in a community that's kind of sketchy, but still in a good part where, his parents are homeowners and he lives in the house, but then he goes to these broke down, beat up public schools where he's getting bullied on. But then he grows up to become a very smart young man after losing his father. It is okay. All right. So that's my word to the wise today. Journey.
My word is
to the wise.
To the wise. My word to the wise is okay. That is my word. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be passionate. It's okay to not do the norm. It's okay to single yourself out and do something else. It's okay to educate yourself. It's okay to love. It's okay to care. It's okay to pass on resources to your brother, your sister. It's okay to love the world. It's okay to love yourself. And once you figure out that it's okay, regardless of the situation that my young brothers and sisters are going through, I'll be available for y'all to tell y'all it's okay to be you.
I love it. And Carl, last but not least.
All right, so my word of the wise is goal.
To the wise.
My word to the, my bad.
Yeah, you good, man.
My word to the wise is goal. So no matter where you come from, you need to have a goal. As long as you have a goal, you can get out of it.
There we go.
And you need to have a goal. Chase that goal with confidence and be fearless. No matter what you go through, always know that you can make it. You feel me? Chase that goal. Make sure you know your goal and you know what you want in life. Go after it. Don't be scared. Don't be scared of what people think. Don't be scared of, what this person said, what that person said. They don't be, because some people will tell you, I tried to do this. I couldn't do it. And they trying to tell you if you do it, it's not going to work. Know your goal and know how you're going to get there. And don't listen to nobody. That's it.
I love it. Fellas, thank you for coming on the show today. On behalf of Mark and I, we really appreciate you guys.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for
sure. Absolutely, man. This was great. I think the wise community out there, the wise guys and wise gals, got a lot of gems tonight in regards to what you guys are speaking. And I can't wait for them to hear this episode very, very soon. So, gentlemen, one thing about the wise community that I've started to see over the past couple of months from the time Mark and I launched this podcast, is that, our wise community is very well connected and plugged into us. They reach out and they email us. They're constantly chattering and, asking us follow-up questions and trying to pick apart our brains on social media. And once you become a part of the wise community in terms of contributing to the podcast, you are forever a part of the wise community. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely want to have you fellas back on with our other boys.
I want to be on for every I want to be on for everyone. This the start. I want to be for everyone.
Okay.
This is not like a podcast. We just say just talking,
just vibing.
I'll tell you this, wise guy community. There is a demand for cultured men, and to be sitting here amongst cultured men. I never thought that I would be sitting here amongst cultured men and talking about the topics that we're talking about. So it just lets me know that because people was available to me to tell me that I could do better, that's why I'm sitting here in this living room right now dealing with these two positive brothers. So I want to give a couple. I want to give a round of applause for growth. I want to give a round of applause for education. I want to give a round of applause to compassion. Because I feel like the universe, and that could be a whole other topic down the road. I feel like the universe gave me another chance to be what I was supposed to be, and now I know what I'm supposed to be. So outside of a chef, outside of cooking, this is the journey.
Right.
This is my goal.
Right.
And it's okay for me to skyrocket out of here.
Ascension.
I don't have to be what was set for me. You're just going to be a chef for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
No, that's not what I see. That's not what I see from my brothers amongst me.
Right.
And I wish y'all both many years of prosperity.
For sure. And, shout out to our boys, Kelly Mills and Curtis Sincere. They were supposed to be with us tonight, but, they got,
shout out.
So definitely next time we have to do all the brothers, the Horsemen.
Shout out to their family.
That's our nickname. I put it on my phone, the Horsemen. That's what we are, man. The Horsemen. While we're working at CPA. I put CPA Horsemen. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we are. But, man, why did I say that? I feel as if he kind of went on a tangent, but it's good. So the reason why it was a quick. But the reason why I say that is because this is what I meant to say afterwards. But it's okay. Where can the wise community reach out to you all to share the love, to feedback? Plug in your social medias and your emails.
Great.
Go first.
Well,
hey, so my Twitter, you guys can hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter is Carl Desir 1234. You guys can follow me.
You want to spell it? You spell your name so that way they know.
Yeah, so my first name, Carl, Carl. My last name, Desir, Desir. And then 1234.
Okay, that's good. That's excellent. And Vatelli, you want to plug in your socials or where they can find you online?
Great. The Wise Guy community can reach me at VCHAP 2627. That's VCHAP at 2627 at gmail.com.
Can you say that one more time?
VCHAP2627 at gmail.com. And I'm open for all comments and all discrepancies as far as what just feedback. As far as any questions, anything that you guys want to talk about, anything that you want to know amongst my colleagues, I'm open and I'm here.
Excellent. And ladies and gentlemen of the Wise Guys community out there, you can find us online, okay? If you haven't, find us online right now, all right? On Twitter, we're at The Wise Guys NYC. On Instagram, we're at Wise Guys NYC, although we'll be changing that soon to The. And on Facebook too, we're at The Wise Guys NYC, all right? So follow us on social media if you haven't been following. For those of you all who have been following, I love you, Mark loves you, we all love you, and we want you to continue engaging with our community because I really see we're building something special here and I want to continue it and I want to keep it going, okay? And as I've said a million times, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio. All right. You can find it on Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, YouTube, wherever, Breaker, Radio Public, wherever podcasts can be found. Okay. So, as I said before I say that, I would just like to let the wise community know next week's episode 17 is, it's going to be a real cool episode. I got my boy, John McLeod, former BC alumni, another BC guy coming in who works at ESPN. He's going to talk about, some cool sports and politics with us. All right. So next week's episode 17, John McLeod from ESPN is going to be really dope. So as I said at the beginning of the podcast, this is your boy, Kevin Anglade, and I am joined by my very, very, very special guests,
Carl, Desir,
Vatelli Chapman.
And we are the Wise Guys Podcast. We'll see you all next week. And if Mark was here, you already know what he'd say. Stay wise.
Stay wise, y'all.
Out, man.
Peace.
Out.